Welcome to a United Soybean Board Checkoff Chat on Brownfield. I'm Kellen Havikin, an anchor and reporter based in Nebraska. I'm with Nebraska farmer Ed Lammers. Ed, thanks for joining me here today to talk a little bit about how checkoff dollars and biofuels today relate. Ed, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Kellen.
Well, let's talk about biofuels and return on investment through the United Soybean Board and the Checkoff program. Before we get into that, I want to see, how is it important? What does biofuels mean to you on your operation at the farm level in Northeast Nebraska?
Well, I use it year round. I use 10% blend, up to 20% blend on certain times of the year. So for me, it's just using my own product that I raise. I mean, that's just huge for me, and being proud of that. And then also, not only that, but less dependent on other inputs. I mean, anytime I can use my own product, that's just a great benefit.
When we talk about renewable fuels, obviously for soybeans, we're talking biodiesel is kind of the main fuel that we're talking about right now. We'll get to maybe sustainable aviation fuel in a second, but how has the soybean checkoff helped build and establish the soy biodiesel market that we're seeing?
Yeah. Also, I want to go back to the other question. Not only using my product, but being sustainable and creating less carbon, right? I mean, so that's something the whole world's looking at nowadays and trying and concerned about, and rightly so. So that's the other piece of that part. So back to the renewable diesel fuel, what our part has, we've been a part of that, investing our checkoff dollars in that industry for many years, and it's been a great partnership. We're experiencing about 63 cents on a bushel of what biodiesel does, or renewable diesel. So those are just great attributes that our checkoff has been able to be part of.
Ed, outside of biodiesel, what are other type of fuels that the checkoff dollars and soybeans have helped create, and what are we seeing kind of emerge in this market space?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The renewable diesel has really stepped up, and there's other markets out east and out west that are really looking into this and are asking for more. They want more, and it actually talks about that carbon input, right? It's lessening. So if we could burn 100% bio or renewable fuels, we could lessen our carbon footprint by 74%. So that's, those are some big numbers. Now, if you can just go down to 10 or 20%, it's all, it'd be on 10%, it'd be 7.4, percent. So it's all relatable, and therefore, and it's a drop-in fuel. I mean, it's nothing that has to be changed on some of the equipment that you would put it in. So it's something that we can do now and be successful at reducing our carbon credits. So the renewable diesel, that's what I talked about. And then also we have sustainable aviation fuel, which United Airlines, I believe, is the one that's made a commitment to be burning some a certain percentage in the year 2030, I believe, just my memory. And then others are looking at it. So, and then you also can look into ships and railroads, and a lot of these this transportation area, they're big users, and they carry a good footprint that can be reduced. So and that's why renewable diesel and SAF, sustainable aviation, that's a drop-in product that can change it now.
So we've got the fuel side of it, but obviously after soybeans go to the crushing plants and we're seeing more of those come online or plan to come online, we have the soybean oil. Talk about the other side of this equation. What's the interest? What can farmers and agriculture and checkoff dollars do for the soybean oil side?
Yeah, that's a good question. So 20% of the soybean is oil, and then the other 80% is in protein, which is soybean meal. So with that demand of oil and raising the price a little bit for that demand, we've been able to we've lowered maybe a little bit of the protein and made more protein available to the animal ag production, and so therefore more availability of that product, drives demand or drives a customer wanting it and being able to use it. So it's a great opportunity that our oil has come up in price and have kind of helped offset some of that protein cost.
How does some of the investments in the biodiesel and renewable diesel, talk about how that has added demand and what farmers are seeing from this payback of investments in this area?
Well, there's been a lot of investment in that, in whether the crush or and now we have petrol companies investing in infrastructure to deliver this product that the customers are asking for. So great opportunity and potential there. And when we do that, we're going to be crushing more soybeans here in the United States, which creates an added value, right? Anytime we can crush a bushel here and take those products and use them here is just an added value from our soybeans that we don't ship overseas, that stays here. And that's one thing that there's been some discussion against our food versus fuel, and I don't think that's correct. I think it should be more food and fuel, because we have enough soybeans here in the United States. We may export less if the demand is needed here, and therefore that's what there should be no content against fighting against each other. It's both. We will produce food and fuel.
I think you touched on another question that I had, Ed. So when we talk about these fuels, part of the question that I hear often is, does the U.S. have enough infrastructure to support the rollout of the fuels? And then on the other side, with the crushing plants, do we have enough infrastructure there to get soybeans? Do we have enough capacity? So I'm curious, as a farmer and with the United Soybean Board, on both sides of that, do we have enough infrastructure to support this increased demand that we're seeing?
Yeah, we're looking into that with our partners, how we collaborate with other industry partners. We're looking at that. We feel like we're well positioned to be able to go ahead and meet those challenges. But we are looking into that. In actuality, we're hoping that production ag is an animal production will increase. So we start using more of that here, which creates value.
What are we seeing from a global perspective of increase? What's the interest from global partners when it comes to biodiesel, renewable diesel, sustainable aviation fuel? Are we seeing some of this growth beyond the U.S.?
Yes, we are. And they're using other products. They're not only using soybeans, but there's other products other countries are using. Most of our oil that gets shipped is used for food oil, cooking oil. But now with the demand of renewable diesel here and biodiesel, we don't ship much oil anymore. That's part of that added value, right? Yes, other countries are doing that. They see the importance of reducing their carbon footprint, and therefore, a lot of our corporate companies are worldwide, right? And a lot of them have that in their mission statements to reduce their carbon footprint by so many years, and that's really reassuring to me. We're all concerned about what we're doing with our world and how we're going to leave it. And as a farmer, that's my one of my top goals is to make sure when I leave this earth that the world is still in a good shape and we'll be able to continue to produce what people need around the world.
One thing we haven't talked about are price points and how vehicles are set up to handle biodiesel or renewable diesel. So we look at the ethanol side, got E85 that can go into flex fuel vehicles. But on the renewable diesel and biodiesel side, talk to me, what's the price point here, maybe compared to regular diesel, and how available is it to use in diesel engines right now?
So where I get it from my provider, it's either scratch even or maybe like 2 cents higher, and that's been that way for the last 2 or 3 years. Availability is becoming more and more. Yeah, there's a lot of blending going on now that how do I it's widely available. I should just leave it at that. It's widely available, and it's becoming more available because customers are asking for it. And therefore, whenever you get a customer asking, the provider or the person that's providing the service or product will move that way.
And as we wrap up our conversation here about renewable diesel, biodiesel, and sustainable aviation fuel, what's the potential of this market space?
Well, it's huge. I hate to quote any numbers because I think it's changing, but whenever you can have potential of 3 or 4 crush plants in the United States looking to be built, so because they see a demand in the future for the soybean oil and renewable diesel and sustainable aviation fuel. A lot of them are being built for multiple reasons, but one of the big reasons is for this renewable diesel. And then also, you can also look at some of our petroleum companies' joint ventures with some of the soybean crush facilities or blenders. So there's a lot of positive signs, and we're moving forward. And we're moving forward in a direction where our customers are asking us to go more sustainable and less carbon footprints.
Ed, those are my questions for you. Anything else you want to add?
I just want to remind soybean farmers, that the Checkoff board has representatives from 30 states, and we represent all of the soybean producers. And we're here to make the Checkoff and soy producers profitable. So we are trying to find innovative ways for demand and the supply or production. So I think we're in a really good space here. Hopefully our commodity prices will stay elevated at the prices that we are here today, and we'll continue to make a safe, reliable product.
Ed, appreciate the time. That's Ed Lammers, a farmer from Northeast Nebraska on the United Soybean Board. This has been another USB Checkoff Chat. I'm Kellen Havik. Thanks for joining us here on Brownfield Ag News.